Hey everybody, it's Kevin. This is your spiritual inbox and Kev's Daily Vibe. I'm going to give this one more shot on the YouTube. I don't know what happened yesterday or the day before, and I'm hoping that this broadcast goes out okay. Um, what I ended up doing is disconnecting everything and then connecting it all back up. And it seemed to work yesterday when I did a recording and uploaded it. So I think we're good to go. Here's the other thing I've been sort of wrestling with. Sometimes I believe that the world of spirit doesn't necessarily want to connect and doesn't necessarily want to be heard, and perhaps the message is either premature or not something they're interested in discussing, and they will intervene. I've had that happen before. And how does that show up in people's life? How do you know when there's been a spiritual detour? Oh, well, just that. You have heard stories, we have heard stories of folks who perhaps have lost members of their family, or large groups of people have been left the earth in one go, and there will be one or two sole survivors. That's a example of divine intervention, when the world of spirit, source, energy gathers together and intervenes. The only way a lot of folks are able to explain this, who are not necessarily interested in following a spiritual path, or believe that the spiritual path is perhaps a little difficult to deal with. Because remember, most of us were raised, if we're spiritual at all, we were raised with some kind of religious-based platform. I'm not here to debate religion. I would consider myself to be non-denominational. I believe that whatever information I pass on to you through these videos and other public forums is inclusive of all religious-based practices, including Hinduism, Buddhism, of which I find loving and kind. I also find many aspects of the Jewish traditions to be loving and kind, and they are inclusive. They are about family. They're about coming together and celebrating. Other disciplines, if you will, which are disciplines, is to teach people rituals and to show people that on certain holidays they celebrate certain things. And at Easter time, at Lent, in other, I'm using the Christian calendar because that's how I was raised in Christianity, if you will, the Church of England, very similar to Episcopalian. But I'm choosing at this time in this lifetime not to be affiliated with any one particular doctrinated religious grouping. Not because I don't, well, maybe it is. I don't feel like I resonate with any one particular following. And it isn't that anything happened to me. I didn't come under the wrath of any particular religious organization growing up, even though I was obviously and openly gay for all intent and purposes. It didn't define who I was. It is who I am. Do I label myself that? Would I be different if I weren't? Probably not. Would I have a different experience if I weren't? Probably yes. Was my purpose to be here to fly the rainbow flag and be at every pride parade? Probably not. Was I here to help people understand tolerance and understanding? Probably yes. I say probably because all we can do is our absolute level best. And so, in all this to say, when spirit involves itself and intervenes, it is always for the highest good of all. My own personal belief, and I'm not expecting you to believe this, is that anything demonic, anything of evil, anything of the devil, anything of hell, anything of damnation, anything of that, to me is all judgment. And if I am from a place of love and understanding and peace and harmony and wanting the best for other people, there is nothing about myself that could possibly be evil, damning, demonizing, judgmental, or to say to somebody you're going to hell is, to me, the worst possible thing you could say to a person. It is hatred in all its forms. That is demonizing another human being. And yes, I never had that growing up. Yes, I had some folks in my family that didn't quite understand the way I was and were a little bit alarmed, perhaps maybe embarrassed. I'm okay. I wasn't put on the place to embarrass anybody. I hope that my place here in the world was to teach understanding and perhaps teach a little bit of tolerance. If that didn't happen for some people, okay, it didn't happen for them. And I'm okay with that. Yes, I've heard stories from friends who have now tolerated me, which I find abhorrent, but that's okay. If I can be, if I can show you that not all gay people are, let's see, deviants or child molesters or whatever you want to put a label on it, because that was something that was placed in the minds and the heart space of human beings by other people. Other people told these horrid lies and these awful stories, and many people believed it. And I'm going off topic. I'm going out of love and into politics, and I'm hearing the guides saying, stick to the plan, stick to the plan. And they're really here to say that sometimes when we put up videos and the message isn't clear, in my case, sometimes I find that the message is so bit garbled, it sounds garbled. And so the spirit gets in the way and saying, well, unless you've got something clear and tidy to say, we don't want you to say it. And it's simple. It's very much like that. Another instance of spiritual intervention is when you are faced with a detour on your journey. We'll say you're going to work, you've got all the plans to get there by a certain time, and you hit traffic, or you come across something else, or there's a detour in the road, and then you discover that had you been 5 minutes earlier, 5 minutes later, the day before, the night before, whatever that would be, you would have been in some kind of peril. Everything lined up to get you to be in a place where you can keep going. And there are many, many times where the angels and spirit world show up for you when you are really not sure what exactly happened. And there have been many, many times in people's lives, and I'm covered in goosebumps right now, where you understand spiritual intervention was there for you. Now, right now, today, this minute, this moment in time, this place in our culture, now is the time that you recognize it, that you open yourself up to it, that you get on your soul path, you get on the soul path connection, and you realize that there is a source energy greater than any of us could possibly imagine at work 24/7. How do I simplify that in human terms? You don't think about digesting food, you just do it. When you put something in your mouth, your saliva starts creating messages to your brain sends messages to your stomach creates chemicals, which is already prepared to line your digestive system to start breaking down whatever you've eaten. It's quite astonishing when we don't think about what we're eating. We get a message in our brain that right now I could do with some chocolate cake, a glass of wine, a beer, a this or that, whatever it is. Whether it is healthy, nutritional, good for us or not. Spirit says, all right, you can have it. We'll let you indulge in it. Even though there are all of these chemicals involved in it, we're going to prepare your body to take care of it. And they do. Similarly to how someone who is hearing challenged, sight challenged, they are being taught to use the other senses. Those other senses become more sensitive, My new teacher, Kyle Gray, tells the story of when he was a little boy. He got Guillain-Barré syndrome. That's a syndrome that attacks the central nervous system, causes paralysis. It's very similar to meningitis. It's quite debilitating. And he remembers and tells the story that when that was going on, his other sensitivities were heightened. He became more in tune with spirit world. He was learning his craft of the reason and purpose he was here. He didn't necessarily need physical body. He didn't necessarily need arms and legs and all of this to do what he came here to do, which was to spread the light, spread the joy, spread source energy. I'm often surprised by and delighted by those folks who are Down syndrome people. I can't deal with these labels that they place upon people, but that's a human construct. We want labels. We want to give doctors want to give people a label, a diagnosis. And once you've got this label, this diagnosis, it's like something you can't wash off. It's so unfair. In the 50s and 60s, folks who came to the world with Down syndrome were given such horrid labels, put in sanitariums, locked up, pushed away, not allowed to see their family. They were considered to be hidden from society. Many famous families the world over have hidden relatives that were born with these chromosomes. They're different. All the same, but there's something different. And the difference is either by mankind's comparison, beautiful and wonderful and fantastic, or it isn't. And when it isn't beautiful, wonderful, fantastic, it's considered an affliction. And all people with afflictions are placed somewhere else, shut away from the world, shut away from society. And what I've noticed when I've been around those delightful, wonderful folks who are, now we have a new one, autism, that has a whole nother load of labels. Now they're considered to be brilliant. They're considered to be, there's another word for them where they are super intelligent. You see, my friends, the source energy, call it God, creates everything so perfectly beautiful. The word I was looking for was savant. They come in the world with the physical attributes that are different, but their place in the world is just the same. They may be socially awkward, socially different, look a little differently, and perhaps their behavior is inappropriate, but they're here to teach us something. And that big teaching is called tolerance. Tolerance. I don't know anyone with the Down syndrome that isn't got a smile on their face and joy everywhere. And they're just those folks that you just think, gosh, you know, you have all of these issues going on, and meaning non-conforming issues happening, and yet people can't see the beauty, and they can't see the love, and they can't see all of that beaming sunshine coming up out of you. When I was a little boy, my mother, if I asked a question about why did this man have a clubfoot, why does this person in a wheelchair, why does that man only have one arm, why does that person only have one foot? You know, because I was a little boy in the 60s, and there were children that were put in those, I guess they call them splints, to help them walk. They had syndromes. The early part of vaccinations created all kinds of issues for children. Polio was one. And they had to medically, they had to do whatever they needed to do to help this person grow. And of course, in England, they have National Health Service. The National Health Service was a good thing and it wasn't a good thing. It helped people get to the doctor who would not normally have medical help or medical assistance. But then at the same time, one size fits all. You all got put through the same thing and there was limited resources. So you got whatever was available. There was a big strain on the medical profession. Everything had to be organized military fashion. And I remember growing up seeing other children, other people that were different, that had, in my family's terms, would be an affliction. And I would ask my mother, what happened? What's the matter? What's going on? Tell me why. It was something I needed to know. When she couldn't find the answer, she would say to me, Kevin, you just need to go ask that person. You just need to go and see them and just see. And I would, 4, 5, 6 years old, walk up to the person. Does that hurt? Are you in pain? It was always with love and compassion. It was never with judgment. And I grew up learning that it was okay to ask people questions about that, this, and the other. But yet so many find it embarrassing. They're curious, maybe fearful. And those curiosities and fears and differences can do two things. It can create a learning experience or it can judge. And that's where we are right now in the culture that we live in. We have a social justice movement that is showing the world the heinous effects of being not accepted by cultural society. What is society, for goodness sake? Society didn't really exist much. It came out of the need to belong, came out of the need to feel included, came out of the need to be seen, came out of the need to be important, the survival of the fittest. In high schools in the US, you'll get hordes of people crowding around the quarterback of the football team if they're successful. Sports personalities that have accomplished great things. Simone Biles is coming to mind. They are really celebrated for their greatness, and they should be because they've worked hard. Members of the theatre are given awards by Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth for their contributions to the arts, to the theatre, to science, to whatever she believes that they have accomplished in their life, British subjects. And so we see, as we start our life journey, we've got the power inside all of us to do amazing things, great things. That young lady that got shot in the face because she wanted an education, Malala, she won a Nobel Peace Prize, and so she should, came forward to say, yeah, no, I'm not putting up with this. And she took a bullet, almost killed her, but then she went on to rise high, rise above. What I'm telling you, people, is we've got the power within us to do amazing things on an amazing level. And if you are feeling unworthy, oh, that hurts. If you're feeling unloved, oh, that hurts even more. If you're giving up and you've decided that faith doesn't work, that's annoying. Whether you believe it or not, you have a life and a right to be on the planet. The base chakra, and chakra in the Hindu religion and Sanskrit means a circle, to form a circle, an energetic circle. And if you think about how human beings, human is the species, being is what we are doing, is one of the only species that gets the concept between a connection with the actual physical earth, gravity pull to the ground, and the galactic sciences of astronomy, heavens, the moon, the stars, the planets, all of this. We look at the science behind astronomy in physical sense, space, weightlessness, as well as metaphysical, astrology, where the planets line up, where the houses of planets line up, how the magnetic pull of certain planets at certain times, whether we call it a full moon energy, and you know yourself, there's a sensitivity around the full moon, a heightened sense of awareness, a charge that happens when the sun and the moon and the earth are lined up in a certain way that creates a vibrational magnetic pull. When you have astronauts that spend an extended time in space to see what happens when they come back into a gravitational environment such as Earth, they use or lose the use of their leg muscles, their body muscles, because the vibrational pull of planet Earth is pushing them into the floor, pushing them down onto the Earth. That's where we are. That's what we do. And yet we have the strength to put one foot in front of the other, raise our arms over our head, do amazing things, defying gravity if you're a gymnast, and then get in a spaceship and at any given moment, if you're an astronaut, fly on up into a different atmosphere. That is phenomenal. So we're able to do these great things and recognize it and celebrate it and do our applause for it. Why not join forces and celebrate people who are a little bit different, that perhaps appear differently? Doesn't make them any less important than those that don't. What it creates is a blending, a balance. If you took every single human being on the planet and made them a thread, they'd have their own color, they'd have their own texture, they'd have their own strengths and weaknesses. You weave all those threads together, I can't imagine what kind of color tapestry you'd create or how strong it would be. I've always believed, and I got this loud and clear in my level 2 training with a brilliant woman named Paige Ellenson. She said, individually, we're pretty full on. We've got it. Together, we're unstoppable. But we have to get together, which is what's happening right now. We have to come together as a force to be reckoned with, and a force that shines bright like diamonds. Brings me to another example. Everyone wants a nice, shiny, sparkly diamond, but you know, a diamond starts off no more than a lump of coal. Really dirty, filthy, under the ground. You wouldn't even recognize it if you dug it up raw. Some of these crystals I have polished. They've been worked on, polished, look lovely. You can see all the inclusions inside. But when they came out of the ground, they looked a bit like this, covered in dirt, with all kinds of different colours through them. Not necessarily attractive, but still powerful. Still have the power to change things. But I feel like I've spoken for 23 minutes on judgment. And really all I had to say is, sometimes things happen for a reason. Connect with source energy, lean into it, and let life take you down the stream, not push up the stream. Anytime there's a struggle, anytime you're looking to accomplish something and it's not happening, let it go. Sit back. Wash all that off and start again. You can always start over. Let's get on with the message today, because I was shuffling the cards and feeling pretty strong. I think I said to you yesterday, I did the foundational training of Angel Team with Carl Gray. Now we're moving into the next phase, which is all about intentions, what the intentions are, what you hope to get from things. And I'm going to challenge you to get a notepad and a pencil and say, what is your intention? What do you want to get out of life? What do you want to get out of your life? What do you want to accomplish? Because if you knew that you've got 365 more days to be here and then that's it, done. Your mission is over. You're going back to source energy. You're going back to a star. I challenge you that in 365 days, if that's all you had left, that tomorrow is 364, and the day after that's 363, and the day after that's 362. By the time you get to, you got 100 days left to accomplish what you needed to accomplish, you would forget about all of this difference nonsense. You would forget about whether housewife number 2 is having a problem with the lady 2 doors down. It wouldn't matter. So get your intentions straightened out, people. Get to what really matters and go for it. Here we go with our daily message. The Lady Venus. Oh, one card today. I picked for mine, like, show me what I need to know and tell me what I need to do and tell me how I need to do it. And I got this one, which was the Divine Director. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is the purpose. So, Lady Venus, truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and astral realm. You may find yourself getting messages that come at you today, tomorrow, next week, whether it's a television, a book, a song, on the radio, if you haven't already. And I guess that if you're on this and you're listening to this, you have, of what you need to do. What Spirit's saying to you, what they're showing you. And if you have seen flashes of light in your peripheral vision, if you have heard noises that other people don't hear, then you know angels, archangels, spirit guides, your own guardian angel is getting in touch. They're with you. So how do you know the difference between what's a good energy and what's a bad energy? Look at yourself. If you are a really good, spiritual, kind, loving, caring person, you're just looking for some clarity in your life and you do good and you attempt to do good, and you are the kind of person that understands when you've fallen down and when you've made mistakes and when you've felt like, oof, that was a little bit naughty, then if you hear things, you know that they're true. And you know that if you come from that place of love and understanding and forgiveness and compassion, nothing, no one, no message you're going to receive is going to be contrary to it. Which is why those of us that walk that path, that lift that light, tend to see more of the path revealed in front of us and lift that light. And eventually on this journey of love and light, peace, we anchor that light and that strength, walk through some of the darkest of places in order to shine it and lift it in others, to let other people see that the world isn't so awful. It's challenging for sure, but I don't know that we would have wanted it any other way than to be a challenge. So the next time you decide that, well, you know, you're comparing or you're judging or you're perhaps not being your best when it comes to saying things, it might be negative. Think about the Lady Venus and the Divine Director. Is this in your highest good? Is this part of what you should be doing? Or is there something it's showing you, teaching you? Is there something else you could be doing? Guilt is only guilt if you hold on to it. Shame is only shame if you allow yourself to be bothered by it. Am I saying that we don't do shameful things? Yes. Am I saying that we don't have things to be guilty about? We do. But since we're the ones that place the shame and the guilt on ourselves, then we've got to forgive ourselves. God isn't the one that's judging us. God isn't the one that's pointing the finger and saying, you bad person, you awful person, you terrible person. We're doing that to ourselves quite fine and dandy on our own. We don't really need God's help to judge us because we're doing that for ourselves. So let's get on with what Lady Venus is here to do. Basically, download messages from heaven to everybody and anyone who's open to it. The Lady Venus works with the Venusians. The Venusians are basically a set of angels that come to lift the spirits, lift the veil, lift the understanding of spirit world. And right now, with so many folks leaving their bodies, leaving their physical, their physical human lives, they're leaving them. They're saying, "Oof, this is a lot to deal with." And if you notice, lots and lots of people that we know are choosing the way that it's time to go, whether it's going medically, it's time, suddenly through an act of accident, it's time. And those that are left, there's a numbness, there's a void, there's a space. We feel the space of the loss in the grief. We feel the numbness of the person who was here, taking their place in earth, that have now left and gone. I am grateful for the gift of being on a list on the 13th, September 11, 2013. I was on the list to die. I was told by a spirit I thought was a nurse in the room, but it wasn't. There was nobody there when I turned around to ask a question. But I heard a voice. If you're meant to survive, and the reason I didn't want to stay, the reason why I thought I would just die, was because I didn't have the money to pay the medical bill that I thought was going to be so horrendous I wouldn't be able to afford it. In my mind, I had told myself that there would be liens put on my house, that all of the things I had worked hard for would be taken away by the hospital groups who would want to get their money back, and that the doctors who were going to take care of me and it was going to be just this horrible, horrendous bill that I wouldn't be able to pay, and that stress was too much for me to handle. So I had told the emergency room nurse, "Can you give me some pills to make me more comfortable?" And I heard this voice loud and clear. "If you are meant to survive this, the money will come to pay for it." And when I turned around to say, "Well, thank you, what do I do?" there was no one there. So I knew that was spiritual intervening with me and saying, "You're meant to get through this." And then in the 2 nights I spent in ICU, the Wednesday night that I had the stenting done, and the next night that they were not sure because my EFF rating, that's the amount of blood that's floating around your body and the amount of blood that's in your heart muscle. So you have 100% blood volume. A healthy person has 65% floating around their body, 35% in the heart chamber. That's an EFF rating. Mine was transposed the other way. All of my blood volume was lump in my heart. Only 35% was going around my body. When the blood volume drops below 35% to 30%, there isn't enough blood volume to go through the brain to keep the brain going, which is why they have the brain stem starts to shut down. The organs begin to shut down. The body begins to break down. And so the very first night into the second day of the treatment I had, the EFF rating was struggling to come back out that 35%. They ordered an echocardiogram to see what damage had been done to the heart, because obviously there had been some damage to it. I'd done some damage. And then if you look at my heart now under an echo, you'll see that the front left quadrant is dead. It never came back. There was so much damage done, so much oxygen missing, that part of the muscle didn't rebuild. However, by living my life right, by doing what I needed to do, by coming back, it took 3 years, 4 years max. I managed to flip the number and get back up to 63 or 62%. It's evened out a bit more now. But anyway, all that to say, the spirit world intervened. My dead spirits, relatives all showed up at the hospital room. They were coming to get me. My granny Maud, that's my mum's mum that died when she was 8. I've never met her. Well, I have now. My own granny Mabel, who died in 1994. She's here because I've got goosebumps running down the right side of my body. my friend Denson, who I've known in this life. He was cross-legged on the floor as if he was taking a school yearbook photo. My beautiful friend Billy, who I went to hair shows with his crazy mohawk and his woo girl, his goosebumps going down my left side, so he's here. They all showed up. Among other people I don't recognize and did recognize. It was a bit like looking at a group of people that were posing for a photo. And they all claimed to come and get me. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to go. I'm not really ready. And there is a choice. You can choose. When you're on that bridge, the bridge of life to death, it's really quite beautiful. I mean, who wouldn't want to go off with their relatives and have a grand old time? Mook in the spirit. But I made a deal and said, look, I'm not going. And they said, okay, well, you've got some work to do when you're back there. You've got to complete your purpose. Because I believe when we leave our life, when we go into the spirit world, there's a piece of us that gets presented with what our purpose was meant to be, what we came here to do, what we were asked to do. In any given time in our life, we can choose whether we continue to do it or not do it. And if we don't continue to do it, no one judges us. No one says, well, okay, we're not, all right, you chose not to complete your purpose. You said, you're going to have a grand old life. You're going to do other things. You're going to come back. But there is a reconciliation that happens at the end of the life's purpose that you choose, oh, now I get it. I should have done these things. They didn't happen. There's no judgment. It's just, okay, well then do you want to come back and complete them? You get an opportunity, come back and complete. Let's go and work out how you do that. A bit like a goal. Or you've completed your task and you're going on into a different ascension, if you will, for want of a better expression. I'm using human labeling terms because that's the only way we know how to communicate in that way. Angels don't appear to us as these beautiful, bright things with wings unless that's how we want to see them. If that's how only way we know how to see an angel is that's how they present themselves, then they're going to present themselves that way. But it's not uncommon for people that live towards the light to begin to remember what that was like when they were that way, which we still are that way. We just came into a human form. Now I'm getting complicated. So the point I'm making with Lady Venus coming, we're at a time in our life where many, 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 many people are leaving, going into spirit. Families are grieving. The spaces are being left behind, filling in the gaps. And you could look at it, well, only the strong survive. What does that look like and what does that mean? And if you're on this and you're still listening to this video, the Lady Venus, the Divine Director, me, and others are telling you to write down what is your purpose, what is your motivation, what do you want that to be? What do you want to get out of your life? And you can be as simple as love. Okay, you want someone to love you, you want a partner, you want a husband, you want a wife, you want a girlfriend, a boyfriend, you want someone to wake up to in the morning. Define what that looks like. But make sure that you're using your own worth. It's no good to say, I want someone because they'll complete me. I want someone because I don't feel loved. You've got to start with loving yourself if you want someone else to love you. Loving all of your curves, all of your jiggly bits, as I call them. There was a time in my life I hated them because somebody told me I was fat and I believed them. And so I became what they told me I was. And then they said I was unworthy, shouldn't be here, something different about you. And then there were friends of mine and clients of mine that didn't want to sit in my chair because they had been told that if someone's not wearing gloves and they're cutting your hair, you might get AIDS. Thank God we went through that. Now we're going through this whole thing, mask or no mask, vaccinate or no vaccinate. Listen, that's a personal choice. We're here to do personal choices, not to point fingers and judge other people because they're not doing what we've decided to do. This is where we're at, people. Respect a person's decision to choose because God gave them that right to choose. If they're coming from a country that doesn't let them have that right, that is all about keeping them stuck in a box, they're fearful. They didn't crawl through deserts, burrow underneath the dirt, get on a rubber raft and come across the ocean illegally. All right, so that's what man said they were, illegal. Well, you know, I tell you what, for a little brief time, I was an illegal alien. No one said anything to me. Why? Oh, because you speak the Queen's English and you can't. Oh, that's no different to somebody who's from Africa, Mexico, Nicaragua. Oh, only because the desirables get to come and stay. Well, what makes somebody desirable, not desirable? You? I don't think so. So let us anchor the light of compassion, the light of love, the light of understanding, the light of integrity, forgiveness. And you may not be ready to take on somebody who disagrees with you. If in your heart and heart you feel like somebody's saying something, and they will, you'll get presented with that you don't agree with, you don't necessarily have to enter into an argument with them. If you have had enough of what they're saying, you can excuse yourself. But if you do the cleanse, tone, moisturize, as we do with Carl Gray, that is asking for protection, getting the vibes that are stuck to you away, clearing your space, coming from love, taking your eyes to God, taking your eyes to source, taking your heart, then you will find that those arguments, those people, sort of kind of scurry away. For almost 45 minutes I've been on a soapbox, and I didn't intend to do that, but I did. There you go. I think in a nutshell, that's really what I'm landing on right now. Almost 8 years later, I've just decided this is probably what I should be doing more of. Thank you, Lady Venus, for connecting me with source energy. Let's read today's message. It's the 28th. Oh, no coincidence. Let the universe support you. Who or what is your source of power? Who or what are you connected to? Watch yourself as you go through your days. Whenever you get your where do you get your nurturing? Where do you get your support? Where do you get your empowerment? Your energy? Does it all come from one person? Do you have a multitude of sources? Do you consider God, the divine, your ultimate source? There was a time when many of us made one person our only source. That time's past. Although special people are in our lives to be part of support and special support, one of our lessons has been to broaden our connections, to connect to the universe, to open up to all the love and support that there is for us. If we use for our source only one person, one job, one place, one situation, we may encounter problems. Searching for many sources of support is a sign of growth, a sign that we are continuing our journey. Value and cherish the people in your life who feed your soul and nurture your heart. Value and cherish the people who are special to you, who hold you dear, who help you, support you. But don't limit your connections. Open your heart to a living universe. Open your heart to divine love. Know that if you can't get what you need from one person or place, it is because The universe has something or someone better for your needs and your growth. Who and what are you connected to? Are you willing to be connected to the universe? Well, you already are, but are you willing to be? Open your heart, your mind, your soul, and let the universe teach you about divine love. Stop limiting your source to only one person. Open a limitless source of support and energy. Open to the universe. So, I've always said God, the universe, source energy, whatever it is that's vibrating, created clouds, weather patterns, the sun, the moon, Jupiter, all these other planets, plus the countless stars we can see in the sky and not see. The universe created all of that. And then the universe put two pieces of DNA together, powerful bits of DNA, and that's you. You struggled through the 9 months of gestation, trusting that your mum that's carrying you around in her belly was getting proper nutrition, trusting that, well, okay, if we don't, oh, okay, if we aren't, oh, okay, this is a bit of a rocky road. And then you pushed your way out into the world. It got a bit cramped in there. So from the time that you were two bits of DNA that got fertilized, you had to keep growing to get here. It got too cramped inside your mum's belly, so you had to come out, and you got here. And then it was time to feed me, give me more food. I got to grow. I got some things to do. I got a purpose to be on this earth. Come on, come on, come on. And when you knew I got to have more food because I'm growing, scream your head off. And you keep growing, and you keep going, and you keep growing, and you keep going. And then when you're a little one, you're being celebrated for all the amazing things you do. Keep going, keep growing. So my friends, just in a nutshell, line yourself up with people who get you. Line yourself up with people who support you. Line yourself up with people that want you to move forward and grow. Because when you stop growing, when you get into that nitty-gritty nonsense that's keeping you held back behind those barriers when the parade's going around in front of you. I didn't want to be behind the barrier when a parade was coming. I want to be in the damn parade. Not necessarily leading it. I can lead people astray in a heartbeat. I'm happy for somebody else to lead, but I want to be part of that whole process. Let's go. Now, right now, today, the 28th of May, 2021, this day won't come around again. It won't. It will not. Use it to define what you want out of life. Grab it and say, I've got everything I need. Now bring me more of what I need to do what I want and show me how I serve everyone else. Right, let's meditate. Bring your feet flat on the floor. And for this morning, bring your palms up. And I'm going to start with a prayer of protection. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for cutting the cords that bind me to the people and the places and the situations, the stories, the drama, the gossip, and the nonsense that I no longer want or need. It is so good to have your love, to have your support, and to have you cutting these ties right now. So it is. I declare that I am safe, I'm free, and the burdens of the world are now lifted off my shoulders. So shall it be. You take some deep breaths in. As you let go, let a plume of all of those things disappear and be cut away from you. And just as you moisturize your skin and you nourish your skin, clear the space around you of the debris and the dirt, the lower vibrational energies, and give thanks to Archangel Metatron, the Lady Venus, and all the angels of the divine matrix that shine with magenta light, as if they are pouring celestial energy through the color of magenta around the lower energies, removing those lower energies from your space. Let the lower vibrations be removed. Let the folks with lower intentions be removed. Let the negative energies that have attached themselves be removed. Allow the space around you, 6 feet, to be clean and clear of anything that's stopping you from connecting with a higher source. Continue with your breath. Work your breath in to pull more of the magenta energy and the clearing energy into you, and out to clear the space around you. Bring your left hand onto your heart muscle. Feel that source energy working through you, and bring your other hand to your belly. Just give yourself a little sweet hug. Those connecting points are the connecting points to source, the energy that put you here. And then you can repeat the affirmation, I am the keeper of my mind and my body, and wherever love is, fear is a stranger, and love is here. Give yourself a little love tap on your heart muscle, and then open up your idea, your mind, your thoughts, your energy, your heart to gratitude. What are you grateful for? Grateful for breath, grateful for health, grateful for good choices, grateful for good friends. Grateful for breath, grateful for life, grateful for the opportunity to serve source. Whatever that is you're grateful for, get into that attitude of gratitude. Now what I want you to do is be in the meditation of the heart. Open the center of your chest as if you were experiencing divine light, connecting with your eternal flame, the flame that you came to the earth with. The of God energy. Allow the light to radiate out from your heart and come back into your heart as the breath does. Lift this energy, this radiation up through the crown of your head and see the light coming from source energy above you, the stellar gateway. Your soul chakra, the one above your head, and let it stream down the top of your head, your eyelids. Let your cheeks and your nose, your chin and your throat glimmer and glisten with this white light. Shine it out through your heart, down over your chest, into your rib cage, down to your belly. See the glimmer of light going into your buttocks, your genitals, your pelvic region, into your upper thighs, your hip bones, down into your knees and your shins, your calves and your ankles. Light up every single one of your toes. Light up the soles of your feet. Now see your body radiating light. See your shoulders and your arms and your elbows and your fingers and your wrists and every fingertip and fingernail pouring this light from you and attracting this light to you. As you look forward through your third eye center, begin to see the reflection of you in your light. A ball and a sphere and a beam of light equal to yours. See where it's coming from. Is it from the left or the right or straight ahead? Allow this light to come towards you as your light goes towards them. As the light gets closer and closer, you are able to form pictures. Thank your guardian angel for revealing themselves to you. If you're not quite ready to see them, if you're not quite ready to see the source and how they appear, know that they are just as curious about you, what you look like. You may appear to be shy to your angel, and your angel may appear to be shy to you. And thank your angel for reminding you that they're here and how happy you are that they've shown up. Invite your angel to appear to you any which way they choose. Take a few moments to experience this gently reconnect with your breath. Take a breath in. The breath out. Reorient your mind and your consciousness with your physical space that you're in. Bring your hands together at your chest. You can keep the connection of your guardian angel. They're never separated from you. You can give thanks to your guardian angel for revealing themselves, reminding you that they're here. And stay open and lifted to their help and their guidance. Then lift your thumb knuckles to your third eye center, and together we bow and say Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That meditation I do now daily, sometimes twice a day, including the prayer protection, the clearing. And if you're looking for, where is this written? Where do I get this from? I'm happy to share it. Angel Protection 101, Kyle Gray. If you go onto his website, carlgray.uk.co, I think you'll find it. There's a list of free resources on the website. That's where that came from. There's a recording that really speaks about that we did on Wednesday. That's open to the public to download. It's a Zoom. You're welcome to go do it. None of this information that he shares, he's open about where he got his information, what books he's read. And I'm here to tell you all, we've got work to do. If you're on this and you're listening to this, we've got work to do. And that, I'm happy to do it, happy to share it. I don't believe I'm any better or worse than anybody else. I'm not any more gifted than anybody else. I just use these muscles even more. I just use more of this every day because it makes me feel good and keeps me in check. So listen, have a great Friday and the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend. I'll be back here tomorrow, technology willing, and we'll see you then. Lots of love. Bye.